Ladies and gentlemen, we'll start town meeting, not town, sorry, Board of Selectmen Sewer Commission meeting, April 25th, 2011. But before we start, I want to make a little bit of an announcement. I am requesting that all cell phones and electronic devices are turned off in a mute position as not to disturb the meeting. Also, any member of the public has the right to make an audio or video recording of an open session of a public meeting. A member of the public who wishes to record a meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with reasonable requirements regarding audio or video equipment established by the chair, so as not to interfere with the meeting. The chair is required to inform other attendees of such recording at the beginning of the meeting. Just want to make it clear because we had a little confusion a couple of weeks ago. So from now on, we're standing by this. This comes from the open meeting law, so we're going to stick by it. We have a roll call.
All Vice President, Selectmen and President, and Town Administrator Mark Ames is also.
Any announcement?
Yes.
Do you have that?
Just the back page.
I think just that, yeah. I think
On Saturday, May 7th, 2011, the Carver Wareham Regional Refuge District is pleased to offer a household hazardous products collection day. On May 7th, the residents of Carver, Marion, and Wareham. Let's see what's included here. This will be held at the Carver Salt Storage Area off of Route 58 in South Carver, in the Wareham Municipal Maintenance Area off of Charge Pond Road. The time is between 9 and noon to drop off your household hazardous pieces. If you have computer monitors, 15-inch and smaller televisions, handheld electronic devices, the cost is $10. Microwaves, large TVs, electronic devices, washers, dryers, dishwashers, refrigerators, $15. TVs over 30 inches and consoles, $25. All other items will be judged by weight. I'd like to thank you for recycling with us. Also, Mr. Chair, I believe it's May 30th. What is the auction?
20th, I believe.
Isn't the auction 21st? 20th and 21st.
20th and 21st. Wayland City Community Television will be having their auction again. I had a whole printout on it, and I grabbed the wrong packet. And it'll be here again?
It's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club? Right. And that's for 2 days and nights, auction items. And we'll have more about it tomorrow night at our next meeting. I promise to bring you that. That's all the announcements I think we had.
Citizens participate?
Saturday.
Get that. Is it this coming Saturday?
Yeah.
You can go to WarehamTV.com for more info. I mean, .org.
Still,
Scotty Montero annual golf outing is this Saturday, Bay Point Country Club. That's what they call it.
yeah.
For more information, contact me, and I will see to it that I connect with them, or the
Wendy
Montero at the Montero Foundation. If you have any other questions, though, you can contact me, and I'll make sure that you get a tee time. There are available tea times at this point. There's typically a dinner after, too. I don't have a flyer on it. Anything else? No. Statement? Yeah.
Citizens participation? You come up and state your name.
Sure. Do I have to go on your camera?
Yes.
Okay, here. Oh, right here. Okay.
Sit down. Hello, Mr.
My name is Teresa O'Neill. I've met several of you already. I'm a resident of Shell Point in Onset, and my purpose of being here is to state my concerns about the proposed sober recovery house that is scheduled to open on South Boulevard in Onset. And I have several concerns, and I have made my concerns clear to all the members on the board through email. But one of the concerns that I have is that I have personally invited the Coughlins, who are partners in the program that's going to be opening a sober house there. I've invited them to present their program to the neighborhood and explain what it is that they're doing, when it's going to be open, how many people they think they're going to have there, and what kind of program it is. And they have been unwilling to do that. And the last email that I received from them, they said that it wasn't in their best interest to do so. So I feel that despite the neighbors wanting them to come and present what their program is and what the neighbors can do, or what their recourse is if there are problems at the house, like if somebody isn't allowed in the house, what happens to them. And at this point, all we know is that the Coughlins have stated that we should call the police. And I don't feel that that's an adequate response to for a program that is getting paid to bring people into the community who have issues, and then to lay it at the doorstep of the neighborhood to deal with. I don't think that is that doesn't seem like a very well-run program. There must be a history with Gianni's house, which is what the Coughlins are involved in, and there must be a history of their programs in the neighborhood. I believe this will be their 8th location in the South Coast community, and possibly their 4th in Wareham. Again, I have not been able to confirm that because I haven't been able to have regular contact with Coughlins. There must be some kind of history as to how their programs are run, if they are very good programs, or if there are programs that there is trouble with, and also what the economic development impact of having these houses in our community are, because Onset Village has been working very hard to deal with the drug and crime issues that are constant and have been particularly bad this winter in the village. And it's something that all the businesses are dealing with. And I know the police have been very active at trying to combat it, and I know the budget's really tough, so then it's kind of put upon the neighbors to deal with it. And what I'm wondering is what kind of impact this does have on economic development in the communities that they are already located. And what it's going to mean when you have a whole series of people who are needing this type of program coming into a community that is basically dead in the wintertime. There's nothing for them to do. And right in the village, right now, we are having a drug and we're having a public drinking and drug dealing problem right in the village. And so if you're putting people with problems in a community that there's really not much to do, and they're, and they can easily access this kind of stuff right around the corner, not 100 yards from where they're living. I'm wondering what is the impact that it's going to have in that community, and that is something that I hope that me as a citizen can further address with the board. If we can get some kind of economic development information from other towns that have had these, the Gianni program and the Hope Wealth program in their neighborhood, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your information, your concern. I hate to say I'm going to turn it over to the TA, but that'll be up to him. I think he has written emails concerning what they plan on doing, so we'll keep track of it and make sure it's being taken care of.
Okay,
and
thank you.
We're here for the best of the towns.
Yeah, I've been in contact with the town administrator and the police, and they have stated on the record they're against it, and so I'm hopeful, but I think, I know the community, there's several that I think might want to speak about it as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, if I may comment on that.
Yes.
That seems odd to me. When we met with the owners in a public meeting, Mr. Andrews was there, I believe Mrs. Begley was there. It was before the election, so I don't want to put her in the selectmen's role there. But they told us at that time that this was a country inn. Maybe he didn't use the word country, but I think he did. And so I'm trying to understand why an owner of an inn who's going to open an inn in a seaport community won't meet with the neighbors. You were there, Mr. Andrews.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
We are monitoring, just for the edification of all that, I see a lot of people from the neighborhood. We are monitoring the situation very carefully. I did state on behalf of the administration that I oppose this use. It's a residential neighborhood. It should remain as such. I also feel that we are monitoring literally day by day. We've I've spoken with Lou and other members of the audience here about some activities in the evening. I just want to state for the record very clearly, it doesn't matter where it happens or when it happens. It's a residential remodeling program. And as Selectman Holmes has pointed out, we were there that day and very forcefully made our point that as soon as a change of occupancy permit is requested, it will be denied. And it will be denied on the fact that it's a residential zone and should remain as such, as I have stated, not only for the record, but individually to other members when they have called the office or been in touch with Town Hall. There are things that cause me concern, for the record. I'm not sure if it has it as an inadequate fire escape activity or would allow for that type of activity so that people can get out of the so-called inn. I'm not sure if it has the proper fire suppression systems. So when those permits are pulled, you can be certain that we will follow every letter or every law to make certain that it remains residential. Thank you.
Any other citizen participation other than what we just talked about? Other than what we just talked about?
This one.
Okay, step forward, identify yourself.
I apologize, I cannot hear very well, so I don't know what's said, I might be redundant.
Okay, what we said, as long as it wasn't in relation to what we just talked about. Because I think he gave all the answers that we needed.
That's what I was going to talk
Want
about.
to add something?
I was going to just address the same issue.
The chairman has basically said we've covered it. So we basically covered all the bases, I think.
Okay.
I think.
Thank you very much.
You knew we'd have a tough time.
Can I bring up, can I bring up just one other aspect that I think needs to be looked at? It
Would
appeared...
you step up and
Yes.
identify yourself?
My name is Cheryl Johnson, and I live at 11 Prospect Avenue, and I attended the same meeting as many of you folks did. One of the issues that I brought up at that meeting that I didn't care for the answer to, and I tried to do a little research myself, was parking. And as anybody who lives in Onset knows, it's at a premium. It sounded to me as though this facility, whatever it is going to approximately double in size in terms of the number of residents. The apartments were dismantled so that more bedrooms and more sleeping facilities could be accommodated. And my impression was that the people who will be living there may very well have automobiles. There is approximately 4 to 5 max parking spots at that location. When I asked about that, Mr. Coughlin said that if there was an overabundance of cars, people would park where they always do in Onset, which is the street. The street in front of my house is congested now, and that's mostly in the summertime. These are going to be year-round residents, as I understand it, and I think we're going to have a real serious parking problem on that street. I looked at some of the zoning documentation for the town, and it sounded to me as though 1 parking space was required for every 2 beds that would be in a guest house. And if that's the case, then there should be about 10 parking spaces, not 4 or 5. So I would just ask that you take a look at that as well as some of the other issues I know you're trying to follow up on.
We'll add.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As I said before, if it's anything pertaining to the one in Onset, the TA has on Thursdays from 3 to 5, he has an open door policy. If you have any problems, you can bring it to him and he can answer it. The only reason why I'm trying to rush it now because we got town meeting after this and we like to get through.
I don't have anything to do with the
Okay.
subject at hand. Should I come now?
There's a woman, though I
I sympathize with it, really. I'm Martha Smith, and I own Sail Away Studio on Main Street. And I've applied for a one-day liquor license because I'd like to throw a Champagne Mimosa Appreciation Mother's Day party at my store from 6 to 8, conversely about the whole thing. And it's a thank you, and it's private. It's by invitation only to my best customers who have signed my invitation, my guest book. And I've already applied for the purchased the application, and I just needed to show up, I guess.
Okay, you are on the agenda, so,
That's why I'm here. I don't know if
and what will happen, as I told you earlier, we would call you up.
Oh, you're going to call me now?
Yes.
See, I didn't know, that's why I was asking.
That's why-
I
that's
you
why I-
said people participating, so. All right.
Thank you. Any other citizen participation?
I had something, but it has to do with the building permit for this onset inn.
For the same end?
For the same inn.
Okay, why don't you, like I said, on Thursday, we have the open house, 3 to 5. You can present it all to him, because we'll be here, and we have a meeting at 7 o'clock. Anyone else?
They're here to talk to the time.
Westfield discussion? That's good, thank you. Consent agenda?
Sorry?
Consent agenda?
Yeah, we had our weekly meeting.
What are you doing to us?
We had our weekly meeting with the Westfield.
We can't hear you, Steve.
Let me try this. Sorry, I'm still sick. Can't get much out. We had our meeting on Thursday with the Westfield Review and Recommendation Committee. We have finished going through the RFP up until the point where we would turn it over to town council. There were a few areas of change, and I'm sure that Mr. Bowen and his fine team will fine-tune for us. At this point, I think the schedule will go something like members of the Board of Selectmen are supposed to be getting the finalized changes. Mr. Schneider is doing some work on a couple of matrix. And so I'm thinking that by 10 seconds from now, I'll have those changes in my hand. The Board of Selectmen will review these, and I would say that probably, well, whatever the consensus of the board is, but I'm thinking that by Tuesday night, that'll give us a week.
Tomorrow, Tuesday?
No, Tuesday night. Give you a week to read it, make sure that you're comfortable with it.
Is there a meeting on Tuesday night?
No, the
We
next
have a
meeting is
Tuesday.
the 10th.
The 10th,
The 10th.
May 10th.
And then we would turn it over, take a vote, turn it over to Mr. Andrews, turn it over to town council and put it out to bid. So that's just kind of a roundup of where we finished off with last week. That's all I have, Mr. Chief.
Next under
What's this, Mike?
B, consent agenda. Authorization to, if you have your-
We do, we have one bill.
Authorization to sign bills and documents.
We have one bill. Came in that extra packet, I think Mr. Gifford and,
This is what Mr. Foster is looking for.
no, I thought it was a bill.
No, it isn't. That's later
Oh, all
on the
right,
agenda.
I was wrong, okay. All right, so no bills.
Approval of the minutes, October 25th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 25th, 2010.
Are we all here?
Yes, there's three of us, yeah. October 25th.
25th.
Those,
That was one of the town meeting dates.
Was I here?
yes. Nope.
No, you were here. Three of us were here. Steve? All in favor?
Aye.
3, 0.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 26th, 2010.
seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
On the next one.
I can't do the April 12th ones because I'm just not here.
302.
I'd actually like to have the opportunity to review these in a little more detail, Steve.
Which one is that?
The October 12th.
Yeah, I make a motion to
April
table
12th?
table the approval of our
April.
April 12th, right, okay. I'm glad you mentioned it because I
Bring
was
it up next week?
getting ready to hold up on that. Because what we need is, to the TA, is instead of bringing one that we had last week, we need to bring all the minutes from prior meetings up to date. And then work as fast as we did on the one we have here.
Yeah, that didn't make much sense.
Because the last one we had was March 12th, 11th, so we should have them all up to date before we even get to the 12th.
I'll second the motion to table.
To table it?
Table till the 10th. Right. Till May 10th.
And second.
Alan second.
Ellen seconded.
Oh, Steve, who?
Steve made the motion.
Okay, Steve and
It's on the,
say it loud enough so you can hear.
I'm abstaining.
we have some interviews.
Right, we sure do. Interviews to the Board of Health, Land and Forest Committee, and the Board of Housing Trust.
Before we do that, Mr. Chair, if I could, for the benefit of our newest members, although they came to every meeting, so they've heard me say this before. What I've attempted to do is when somebody comes and applies,
We can't hear any of this.
Yeah, you have to. Plus, you could, that's the only mic we have is on the camera.
Yeah. Basically, what I'm saying to the members of the board is that some time ago, we set some guidelines around applications to boards and commissions, and what I've been trying to do is there's a checklist of things that people need to do. And so what we've attempted to do is when someone comes in the office, I try to get them in on the third week of the month to have an interview before the board. And I see that we have, the language is right on the agenda, interviews for these committees. We inform the folks when the meetings are, and as long as we give them the right times and dates, they show up. Sometimes we give them the wrong times and dates, but I think we fixed most of those. And then they're interviewed or they meet the people at the committee. The chair of that committee will send back a recommendation based on the vote of that committee to the Board of Selectmen. So although we have interviews every third Tuesday, it doesn't necessarily mean we're making appointments. And as positions come open on those committees, we'll fill them. Those are my comments. Tonight we have, well, she was going to split these up. Do you know if they?
Well, I think I have them in order, I hope.
Is there anyone here for the appointment on the Board of Health?
I know Nancy.
Okay, we have all three. What do you want to do this?
Go ahead,
Or just come and sit in this
Yeah,
chair?
sit right on that chair.
Well, why don't you come on up? This is kind of weird. This is,
It is weird.
Yeah, it is.
it's because of the camera, Mr. Shaggy.
Hello, Selectmen, Town Administrator. I'm Tricia McGarry, and I have a brief resume for all of you to peruse. Thank you. If I may.
Yes, you may.
I would like to express my gratitude to you, Selectmen, and the Town Administrator, and to the members of the Board of Health for your years of service to the town of Wareham. Your dedication to the people you serve is an example to all of us here in Wareham that we have a voice in making Wareham a vibrant place to live for business development and to raise our children. And I wish to contribute by stepping up and serving on the Board of Health to make Wareham a better community for all of us. And thank you for your consideration.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I guess, Mr. Chair, go this way or that way?
Either way.
Thank you very much. I guess my first question is, why are you interested in serving? We have a lot of committees. Why did you pick this one?
Well, I felt that my background in the fire department, being a call firefighter for 20 years, a veteran here,
doing lots of overhaul and being aware of the Board of Health issues that come before the Board of Health with our community, as well as any kind of toxic hazardous H1N1 types of things as well. It's something that I'm interested in. Would like to expand on that.
Is this the first committee that you've applied for?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. And 4 o'clock, they meet at 4 o'clock in the
Yes.
afternoon, which is inconvenient for many. Is that
Not at all.
Awesome. Thank you.
So, if you could elaborate just a little bit more for me, what it is that you think that the board is now actually, what their charge is.
Okay, I was at a Board of Health meeting back in 2005, and I went to a meeting last month, and it was the same. Only the different store vendors were being brought up for the second or third time. And
I'm not sure if that's good or bad, is it?
you know what to expect. It's just different names and faces, but it's the same ballgame, if you will, same issues. Yeah.
Aside from being a call firefighter, what do you do?
I work for the Department of Revenue.
You know where
I will be meeting with you on Thursday regarding some suggestions.
Did you put her up to this?
I did not. Looks amazing.
That's all the questions that I have.
I just want to thank you for volunteering, and we'll get back with you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We hope you're going to stay and enjoy town meeting after this.
Of course.
Okay. We'll be looking for you. Next,
Nancy Benell's
I'm trying to pick all of the.
here. Nancy Benell's here.
Nancy?
Yes.
And Joe.
I didn't bring extra copies of my resume.
Oh, that's all right.
It's all right, I think you have it? It went with my application.
Yes.
I have
We all
one.
have it.
We'll throw it up and let you guys look for it.
We all have copies.
I want to try to be green. But anyways, I'm Nancy Bennell. I've been a resident in Wareham for 7 years. I moved here because of the YMCA. I've worked for 33 years for the YMCA, most recently with YMCA South Coast 7. And really my inspiration is Dr. Sherm Gleason, Dr. Charles Gleason. I attended the last Board of Health meeting that he attended before he passed away 2 days later, which, needing to fill someone's shoes, I contacted the family because I didn't want to step on Dr. Amy Vigance or Jane or Bob or Manfred's toes, knowing that maybe the family wanted to pursue the position, but they said go right ahead. So I was at the Board of Health meeting presenting our coalition, Voices for a Healthy South Coast, which has made me well aware of health and well-being and tobacco-related issues through our coalition. So that's sort of what brought me to the table. I attended another Board of Health meeting where we presented for the tobacco ban for the pharmacies and sale of pharmacy. So we're working on that as well. So it made me think that I could perhaps offer more expertise and just, in terms of health and well-being for our Wareham residents. And in a nutshell, which brings me to the table. I also did serve on the Community Economic Advisory Group with Marilyn Wally a couple of years ago, so that's really been my only other town involvement. Of course, opening the Y, I worked really hard for 3 years when I first got here. I didn't really take my head out of the Y for very long at all when we first arrived, so I've had a lot of time, but I did talk to our CEO at the Y in terms of the commitment to the time and day, and he was fine with it. So I got his blessing to apply.
She answered my question.
Did I answer all the questions?
My question, I said, is 4 o'clock convenient for you? Me, one and the other committees. There you go.
I do have one question.
Sure.
Were you, as the executive director of the YMCA, were you directly involved in the inspection process with current inspector services?
Yes, for the pool and the camp, and I'm very well aware of pool sanitation and camp standards with regards to, I know they do provide a school, right? There's a certification
Right.
sort of that you can go to, because some of the other, sewer and sanitation and some of those other things, I would have to learn a little bit more about the regulations, but I am familiar. I went through all the inspections with the fire and safety and
You
all of that.
participated in them directly yourself?
Mm-hmm, yep, that was part of my job. Yeah, all those checklists. It was a lot.
Thank you.
Because you opened the Y, right?
Yes,
That
I
was
opened
you.
the Y. I came
Yeah.
8 months before we opened to staff and put all the equipment in and hire all the staff and do all the training and, yeah. It was a great experience. Yeah, highlight of my career, for sure.
Wow. Great
Yeah.
place.
Single
Yeah.
best thing that's
Thank you
happened.
very much. Yeah, it is. It is. And it's Dr. Gleason's vision, his vision and his determination for creating what is a legacy for our community. Fabulous. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Anything else?
I don't have any questions, just appreciate you volunteering.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, Mr. Chairman, before we interview the next applicant, I do have a quick question. If you wouldn't mind, procedurally, have these applicants gone before the Board of Health already to begin with? Or?
Not always.
Not all of them, no.
Okay.
And it's only
I was gonna
recommended.
give you a
So they
recap.
do have from now until,
Do you want me to do it, Steve, since you're,
No, I just, at this point, we just recently filled the Board of Health, as you know, a couple of weeks back.
Right.
two associates?
With Tom Gleason, MD, and Lisa Irish from Associates into the full
Correct.
position. We have 1, 2, 3 people that we've already interviewed. We sent on to the Board of Health. We haven't got those responses back
So
yet.
we will receive a
We'll get those
response.
3 as well as these 3, hopefully in the next few weeks.
I only raised the question, this is a procedural matter. Just
We're not
my
doing
own.
any appointments at this point
Okay.
until we hear back from them.
Great. Thank you.
And so I won't go through the recap of the Board of Health. The only other thing I had about the Selectmen. So-
was that all for the Board of Health?
Is that it for you?
No, Joseph
All set.
Mulkern.
You all set?
Yes.
I don't have a resume written, that's, I can give you a verbal. I
No, no,
would,
did you state
oh,
your
I can't,
name?
oh, my name is Joseph Mulkern, I live at 20 White Chusas Ave in Buzzards Bay. I've been in town 2 years come this month. And in my previous time, in my previous town I worked, I was on the Board of Health, I was elected to it for 2 3-year terms. And we had a health agent at the time that was not too healthy. So, well, he got sick quite often, so I had to go out a lot of times with other members and do perk tests, restaurant inspections, testing of the ponds in the town I lived in. And it was a very unique situation, and I really enjoyed the 6 years I was there as a health member. And it was also an elected position, not appointed by the Selectmen. Other positions I held in the town, I was on the Conservation Commission for 6 years in the town also. I was on the Planning Board for 11 years, Council on Aging 3, Disability Commission 3 years, and House and Authority 3, so I've been, I never got to selected as a...
Yeah. That was for me when I was sitting.
And let's see, what else did I write down here? Restaurants, but I'm also a master plumber retired, so I have a lot of time I can help out the town. And then I'm right now in the town here on the Westfield Study Committee, and I'm also on the Disability Commission right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you a question I didn't ask the others because I see you have a special skill. Plumbing. And I'm wondering if in that line of work, you have a lot of experience with septic plans and layouts and things.
Yes. Yeah, on the Board of Health, we reviewed board, we reviewed all the plans ourselves.
Right.
We had engineers that would finalize it for us.
But I mean you personally.
Yeah, well, yes.
You personally, as a plumber, you understand site plans, septic.
You already answered one question, because you've been on the Westfield Committee and you were on the disability. 4 o'clock on an afternoon is not inconvenient for you, because you said you were retired. Those are my 2 questions.
Okay.
Just as a follow-up to Steve's question, you mentioned that you had done 4 perk tests.
Yes.
Are you Title V certified?
No, not that.
So this is before Title V?
I just witnessed them. I didn't sign off on them. I just witnessed them. I didn't have the license. And I also took a sort of evaluation course with the state back about 10 years ago.
And you also mentioned, or maybe you didn't mention it today, but you did mention that you worked for Boston Housing, or one of the housing?
Yeah, when I retired, I worked there for about 6 years before I retired from business.
So you're familiar with the residential side of the state sanitary code and tenant law, those type of issues?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, next we have just a couple more. Let me just see if they have Forest Group. Sandra Devlin? Is Sandra here? I'm sorry? No. And I had Darylyn Duquette? Darylyn Duquette?
Nope.
All right, that takes care of those. We'll just put those off until the next. Then we have one for the Affordable Housing Trust. Liz McDonald?
Here.
Was here. Now, this
Steve, we can
committee-
hardly hear anything from the audience.
Ah,
People speak up, please.
we're doing the best we can, ma'am. There's no microphone here. And everybody's spread out. It's very difficult.
Good evening.
Good evening. This is for the Affordable Housing Trust Fund group. Currently, Mr. Schneider is a member.
Not currently.
Well,
No, not
he was.
anymore.
Not anymore.
Well, maybe he is. We'll get to the bottom of that. And Liz McDonald has applied for that position. So, Mrs. McDonald, good evening.
Good evening.
Did you want to say a few words before we ask questions, or would you?
Sure. I know that the selectmen recommend that you go to 3 meetings. I have not been to any meetings, just so you all are aware. I have taken the time to go to the library and go through the folder of the minutes to find out what they've been doing, what they are working on. I know they have a warrant article for town meeting to buy some land, Seawood Springs off Charge Pond Road, to be deeded affordable housing. I know there was a question about $60,000. And they were doing, what was it, bylaws that you guys were working on?
Policies and procedures.
And that was the last couple meetings that they were working on. So just my own research, I've been figuring out what they've been doing and what's been going on.
Why are you becoming, well, this is Mr. Douglas' question. But why are you interested in this committee? We have all committees in town. Why are you interested in this one in particular?
This committee holds funds, they expend funds, and they work really with deeds for affordable housing, whether it's for senior or any income level for affordability.
Can you expand on that a little bit? Why is that of interest to you? As Mr. Holmes said, why this committee as opposed to other committees? And
It's more of helping and serving instead of just advisory giving. Well, I would, suggest maybe we could try this idea I had. This is more getting down to really seriously helping people who really truly need it.
I don't even know how often they meet.
The second Thursday
There you
at
go.
4:30 at room 119 in the Multi-Service Center.
There you go, just once a month?
What time is that again?
Well,
4:30?
4:30.
30. So that's convenient for you.
Yeah.
And you serve on the Crossway Aging right now?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McDonald, if you could give me a little bit of an idea, what your interest is as far as affordable housing. I know that there's been some projects that have come forward in town over the last couple of years, Westfield being among them, and the Main Street development. I was wondering if you could give me some feedback on what your thoughts were on those projects.
The Westfield is strictly senior. 815 in Union Pond was more of a mix. Agawam, Redwood, and that is seniors. My daughter had a friend in her class, she's in 5th grade, and found out that she was homeless. They were living in their car. And that's what really sparked me to look into it more, to try to help and do something to help more families. Housing, whether it be, there's a real estate, I can't remember the name now for the life of me, but the past couple town meetings have come and asked for money to do more houses.
Golden Realty.
Thank you. Houses for families. Seniors need help, veterans and of that nature, what sparked me was the family aspect of it. To have little children, sleeping in the car is horrible. And I want to try to help that way.
Just for example, on the Westfield development, was there anything in particular that you weren't, thought could have been done differently, done better, that maybe that you weren't in favor of, or you were in favor of?
Something I thought that could have been better was meetings to be held at the existing, Agawam community boards, to see what they thought those people already living in, that sort of setting on an obviously smaller scale. But to get their thoughts, what they thought was positives, negatives, maybe the layouts could have been spaced different, maybe the parking spaces and the steps going in weren't good. So I thought maybe some more input from people already living in those types of units would have been helpful.
And with respect to employment experience and affordable housing, can you give me a little bit of idea of what your experience is as far as employment, any banking, insurance?
By the statutes and MGL, nothing. I've been in healthcare, I've done private duty, I've been with Department of Public Health in group homes, and I've done facility work, but nothing banking, no real estate, nothing of that nature.
And what is it that you think that you would bring to the Affordable Housing Trust that would help further the affordable housing mission?
I have a lot of initiative, I have plenty of time, and it's really something that I'm interested in. It's a real need.
Nothing, no questions. Thank you, Mrs. McDonald.
Thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch.
All right, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to skip on the agenda. We need to get two things done before we leave here tonight. We're going to leave in about 5 more minutes. Okay, Mr. Clerk.
Licenses and permits. We have an application for a one-day malt license by Sail Away Studio, 251 Main, Pier and Martha Smith for Mother's Day mimosa party.
Hello again.
Fancy meeting you here.
So before we read that, we'll let you give yourself a plug because we are on a very, sorry, but we
That's
are on a
quite all right,
tight
I understand.
time.
As some of you may or may not know, Sail Away Studio is at 251 Main Street, and I've been there for, I think, going on 8 years now, since Margaret retired. And it's a handmade, local artisan boutique, made in America boutique, and also part of the Fair Trade Act, so we fair trade globally with countries around the world, keep women out of sweatshops and the like. And we have a really great customer base here in Wareham and the surrounding towns. And so I would like to have a appreciation day on the Monday, or the Sunday rather, before Mother's Day, and have a champagne mimosa and hors d'oeuvres party and invite my best customers to come and have a little fun from 6 to 9, I think it is. So I'm applying for an application, and you're invited.
Makes it one of her favorite.
Recommendations from the police.
Any questions?
The only question that I have is, are you gonna be serving the beverages? Or do you have a?
It's just mimosas, nothing else.
But are you familiar with you're not tips trained, I'm assuming?
Tips trained? No tips. There's nobody's behind it.
No, I understand that, but, right.
Yeah, there's no selling, it's by invitation, it's like having it at my house.
Right, no, I understand that, but a lot of times people will have a professional bartender do the serving because they're familiar with the rules surrounding serving of liquor and...
Well, we're also serving food too, it's just, we're doing hors d'oeuvres and mimosas, we're not just serving alcohol.
No, I understand that. It's more to your benefit to have a tips trained person and serving any alcohol because of the liability issues.
That's actually, that's a town policy, right?
I didn't, this is a we're not going to meet again
I can have a
before May
bartender
1st.
come and do it? Okay, I can do that.
You have to, right? You have to.
You just serve alcohol.
I think you have to have a tips trained person.
I would still do it by invitation only. That way you know who's
It's not
coming
at your
in there.
house. You were doing it at your house, so it's not story.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, she's going to be responsible for, somebody who leaves there intoxicated.
It says here attachments required. Where is the intent to the agreement?
There's nothing.
No letter. Business certificate.
Oh, I have the business certificate. Let me grab it.
Did you see the application?
Did they
The bottom?
not ask you for this when you was at town hall?
I filled it out and I gave them.
Oh, maybe we just don't have a copy.
Oh, okay. And I also have my business license too, I bought.
Oh, you have it then. Yeah, usually we get a packet.
Right, we don't have it. I don't have it.
Review. So you have all the documents there.
But may I ask the applicant a couple of questions?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Rich Bowen, I'm the town council. You're applying for a one-day license, correct? Okay, that's subject to chapter 138, I believe it's section 14A. And it's like any other liquor license, and it's required only when you're actually selling the liquor. Now, sales can come in one of two ways, either direct consideration, here's $5, here's your mimosa, or through indirect consideration, pay $10, you get in free drinks.
Okay, nobody's doing that either.
Okay, so nobody either directly or indirectly is paying for consumption of alcohol. So let me ask, if I decided to show up uninvited, could I be given alcohol?
No.
Okay. Even if I offered you $5?
No, you may not.
10?
No, it's
20?
by, no.
I'm being facetious.
It's by invitation only.
By invitation only. Well, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, you only need a liquor license when you're actually selling alcohol. Otherwise, it's simply a private party.
Right.
And like any other private party, you're going to be responsible for the outcome of that party. Whether people behave themselves in private or afterwards, you're on the hook for all of that. Hopefully you've got all the appropriate insurance that would be required. But I would say unless she's actually selling the alcohol, she probably doesn't need this license.
So it's not required.
So through you, Mr. Chair.
She doesn't need this permit.
Right.
No, ma'am.
Which I already bought.
So I would make a motion for the selectmen that we deny this.
So I don't need a permit?
She doesn't need a permit.
Doesn't need the permit.
Withdraw it or deny it?
The applicant could ask.
Just withdraw.
I would like to have a vote.
Mr. Andrews, can you get back in touch, through you, Mr. Chair, Mr. Andrews, could you get back in touch with Mrs. Smith about refunding her $100 fee for the permit that she didn't need?
Yeah, Steve.
Sorry.
It's better be
Okay,
Steve.
there's a fee in play now, the fact it came in. Would that be an appropriate motion?
Yes, sir.
To deny the license?
Yes, and you could include the refund in the motion if you want.
So I make that motion to deny the license and refund $100.
Second.
Second, Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
5-0-0.
Enjoy.
Thank you very much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn?
No, one more item. Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Yes.
This is in regards to the Mr. Foster. Could Mr. Foster come up?
John?
We need Mary Ann first.
I'd like to read this letter. I'd like to do this.
Judas, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow.
Mary Ann's not here.
Make it quick.
Sure.
Mary Ann's not here.
Mary Ann's
No,
not
we're
here.
going to
just
do,
need to-
we're
we
going
just
to
need
go
to
over
vote
this,
on this
and
letter.
then
All I
after
need to
town
do is-
meeting, we'll sign.
Yep, all I need to do is read this letter.
Yep, all this is, we had a prior authorization of $12,727,000 interim loan from the Mass Water Pollution Abatement Trust. When they closed last year's pool 15, they closed out $8 million on it. We have to reapply for the interim loan of $4,668,000. The interim loan right now, and that's what that is.
I have to read this letter.
Yeah, that's how we can get reimbursement from the trust for our expenses.
We'll get copies of these things. I didn't see this.
Yeah, there actually is
Or is there
set up.
enough copies?
Everybody has, you don't have to sign now, it just has to be signed.
So, Steve, what we're going to do is,
I don't
after
know.
town meeting, we'll sign it from there.
I, clerk of the Board of Selectmen of the town of Wareham, Massachusetts, certified that the meeting of the board was held on April 25th, 2011, of which meeting all members of the board were duly notified, and in which a quorum was present. The following vote was passed, which appears on the official record of the board and in my custody. Town issued a bond of bonds in aggregate principal amount to exceed $4,668,271 pursuant to chapters 29C and 44 of the general laws in a vote of town passed April 30th, 2007, which was Article 5, authorizing a total borrow of $20 million for the construction of sewer and other water pollution control facilities. That in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds, the treasurer is authorized to issue an interim loan or note from time to time in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $4,668,270. That each bond or note shall be issued as a single registered security and sold to the Massachusetts Water Pollution Abatement Trust at a price determined pursuant to the loan agreement. That the treasurer is authorized to determine the date, form, maximum interest rate, principal maturities of each bond and note, and to execute a loan agreement with the trust with respect to the sale of the bonds and notes, such dates, form, and maturities, and the specific interest rates or rates of the bond and notes to be approved by the majority of the Board of Selectmen and the treasurer, and evidenced by their execution of the bonds and notes. 5, that all action taken to date by the town and its officers and agents to carry out the project and its financing, including the execution of any loan commitment agreement by the treasurer, are hereby ratified, approved, and confirmed. And 6, that the treasurer and the other appropriate town officials are each hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary and convenient to carry out the provisions of this vote, including execution and delivery of the loan agreement and the project regulatory agreements related to the project. Further certified that the vote was adopted at an open meeting to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that notice stating the place, date, and time of the meeting, which an agenda would be included, was filed with the town clerk, a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to all at all hours in or on the municipal building. And the town clerk, that the office of the town clerk is located, if applicable, in accordance with an alternative method of notice prescribed or approved by the Attorney General, as set forth in 940 CMR 29.032B, at least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, or legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting and remain so posted at the time of the meeting, that no deliberations or decisions in connection with the sale of bonds and notes were taken in an executive session, and that the official record of the meeting was made available to the public promptly and remains available to the public, all in accordance with GLC 30A 18-25 as amended. I further certify that the vote has not been amended, supplemented, or revoked, and remains in effect to this day. Mr. Chairman, I
Second.
move this be moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I just have one question. So, Mr. Foster, you come back with number 4. That was the interest rates of the bonds and
It's
notes.
0.33%.
Mhm.
We're borrowing from the trust. They're actually the ones, we get that money as we submit bills to the trust.
Mhm.
They'll go through the DEP. It's reimbursements that Mr. Andrews has been signing. That's to get our money back from them. But it's an interim loan. It hasn't been permanently financed. That will probably be financed this June or whenever they decide to finance the next pool of money.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 500.
I move to continue this meeting to Tuesday, April 26th at 6 PM in the Wareham High School cafeteria.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will meet with the clerk to sign the document.
Okay. Mike?